All right, welcome to the Side Action,
Ayo.
episode 16 of season 7. My name is Jim Weglars, aka Wegs. You can follow me at Wegs School on X and on Instagram.
And I'm Coop. You can check me on Instagram at Dalton Cooper, on X at Mr. Grumpy Gills. Again, we are the Side Action Podcast. Make sure to check us out on TikTok as well. All the social medias. Give us a like, follow, subscribe, everything in between. We always appreciate it.
Welcome back, sir.
Uh,
I'm glad you're a good boyfriend. Linnea listens to this, so she's going to get a shout out for taking away my host for a week. But Johnny, you did admirably last week. You did a good job stepping
yeah, I
in.
saw that.
Zero prep, just we had the outline and we just kind of did it, But you may hear a little gravel in my voice here. I know that
Yeah.
the fans like that. It's been, 3 days of partying here in the city of brotherly love, and today is the big one. Today is a noon start for
The
like
nooner. Oh my God, the
look at
nooner, just
this.
like the hat. Yeah, hell
Oh
yeah,
my
that's what the
God,
hat says. Yeah,
I should wear that to the party.
I'll get you one.
Today's the actual Christmas party. I've been doing pre-parties, work stuff. Flew to Philadelphia on Monday. It started on Monday. It was 2 o'clock Hawaiian time, and I arrived at 7 a.m. Eastern time on Tuesday. So that was a rough start. And then did go out that night, and then I fell asleep during my last call today. I was like, And then on Wednesday, it's just an all day, Actually, no, Wednesday was a regular work day here. Thursday, all day meeting into the night. You're drinking with like the CIO, which is Chief Investment Officer, till like 1 a.m. You're probably doing something right, but anyway, so that's me. That's me. I'll be back in Chicago on Saturday, pal. Hopefully, I'll see you soon.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Well, we're gonna miss you tonight. That's for sure. We're gonna miss you
I
tonight.
know. Which song are you going to be belting out? Karaoke. You going to my buddies?
Yeah, we definitely plan on making an appearance. Homegirl's been a little under the weather, so I don't know. I don't know how she's doing today. So, fingers crossed. But yeah, no, I haven't. I've been battling that. I don't know what song I'm gonna do. Maybe Disturbia. I'm thinking might be a good one. That beat was stuck in my head the other day when I was just randomly sitting here, and then I started getting it stuck in everybody else's head. So that's what I'm good for nowadays. But no, we did Thanksgiving in Ohio. We saw Gladiator 2, which was pretty cool. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
And yeah, just kind of doing the tour of the fam, all that kind of good stuff. And then I'm moving this weekend, so I'm just trying to get everything situated right now. So
love it.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. I'm not doing the victory lap like Jim Wegs over here. I wish I was.
Hardly a victory lap. I mean, to be honest with you, whatever. I'm going to work front. The project's not so great, so it's not looking like I'm going back to Hawaii. I don't know if I told you that. It's very unlikely I'm going back to Hawaii now. So,
well,
you missed your shot.
You can keep your time zone though. I'm more worried about your health. It's not about me, Jim. It's about you, Wegsy. It's about, we're gonna get you back. We're gonna get you nice and rested. Yeah, better than ever.
Yeah. So excited for that. But anywho, let's just jump into this. Let's talk. We had quite an eventful week last week. In both leagues, I guess both college and pro. So who you taking to the shed? Who you take?
Yeah. I like your shed. I really do. I was gonna put that as so that I kind of pivoted. So, and these guys kind of have a couple things in common. But like I said, I have to start with this guy because I was in Ohio for Thanksgiving, and God, it was just so great. Like it was the greatest gift I could have gotten for this holiday season, and that is Ryan Day. Ryan Day's going to the shed. The Buckeyes completely got it all over themselves. I've never seen a more deficit of talent and he literally turned into Matt Eberflus, which we'll get to him in a second. But literally Ryan Day turned into Matt Eberflus. Like we were watching the game at a restaurant or an establishment, and just like I think at one point I turned to Linnea and she was like, "This looks like a Bears game." I go, "I know. I was ready just to ask you that. Like this looks like Matt Eberflus out there." So Ryan Day, get in the shed. You lost to a 6-5 team. The biggest thing, this is my biggest takeaway too, but we've never seen such a big disparity of talent, Jim. Tell me, if you're an
Mhm.
Ohio State fan, how in the world do you ever have confidence that they're going to beat Michigan again? Because there was no greater advantage than this year, and they still
Yeah,
couldn't get the job done.
I know. I mean, I don't understand it. Michigan's getting trounced by a lot of teams this year, and they go into the horseshoe
Yeah,
and they win. And
yeah,
then they plant the flag or try to plant the flag, and it's melee. Guys, you got your ass beat for hours. It
yeah,
was incredible.
yeah.
Would they get like 2 first downs in the second half? It was just I've never seen anything like that. This is a team that was rolling, but I mean they played so well against Indiana a couple weeks before.
Yeah.
Just
They hadn't had a
inexplicable.
stinker all year. They were saving it for the Michigan game. Apparently, that's what they were
Big,
doing.
big stink bomb. Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah. So I'm putting Ryan Day in the shed. There may not
Yep,
be a
he's in
hotter
there.
seat. Yeah, it may not be a hotter seat in America right now. Like that man is sitting in the
Oh,
bathtub and his ass
I
is
think
hot. Like there's no
it's
way.
over. I mean,
Um, and then like I said before, Matt Eberflus. He got taken from the
oh,
shed too. Yeah, he's
the
in the shed.
Blues.
Get it? Yeah. See ya later. Thanks for coming. I've never seen anyone more disingenuous in my whole life, honestly.
Right,
Uh,
right. Yeah, I mean,
I
it's
did
how
at
you
the
planned
podium
it. It's how
anymore. He just
this
gets in there and just
you wouldn't do anything
yeah,
different, right, Matt? You wouldn't do anything different.
right.
You would call timeout.
Well, this was the plan.
Anything.
This was the plan. Yeah. Okay. So what happens when that plan's not working and you still have 18 seconds left? That's what I have to say. So yeah, we
So,
all saw that debacle on Thanksgiving. And just he was inventing new ways to lose, and I think he finally just embarrassed the franchise enough for them to
oh
be
yeah,
like, okay, we can't. Yeah, it's bad enough for people to make fun of ownership, but when the coaches have to making a mockery of it too, it can't happen anymore. So Eberflus, get in the shed. See you later.
yeah. Get in
Thanks
there.
for coming.
I mean, I do think because it was on national TV and everybody watched it, they had to do it. But he's
Yeah.
been doing this for weeks. Right? This was just the worst,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, he's in there. You and Ryan can talk it over because he's going to be out.
Yeah.
He's going to be out of a job too soon.
Yeah.
I've
Maybe
got
go work at
Justin.
Ohio State next year.
I've got Justin Tucker, Baltimore kicker. We put a lot of kickers in lately. At least I have. But this is inexcusable. They're playing a big game. Philly's coming to town, M&T Stadium, and early the Ravens were dominating, and then he hooks the first one, hits the upright, misses the extra point. I'm like, that's not good. You know what I mean? It was just ominous. And then what happened is, of course, Philly comes kind of rolls a little bit, and then they second half, Ravens did what they did again. They dominated a quarter, didn't score. Guess what? 2 missed field goals. This guy can't make a goddamn field goal to save his life. I mean, I know that he's an all timer, but you lose your fastball at some point and it's over. I know, and I don't think I've been paying attention. I don't even know if they brought in a kicker this week or not,
Oh no.
but they should have. And now they're rolling with the kicker into the playoffs with a guy who I have no confidence in. So it's going to be tough to bet them in tight games with Tucker. So Justin, I know you like to sing. Perhaps Ryan Day and Eberflus would like a little, you know, whatever falsetto back there because
No
he's got a
tune.
great opera voice. But sorry, bro, get in the shed.
Yeah. No, between him and their secondary minus Kyle Hamilton, it's just they're like the opposite of the Chiefs, right? Like they they could beat teams by big margins, but then they just blow it instead of like the Chiefs give a head start and they end up coming back. So it's just it's weird.
Weird. Well, let's go club dub. We want to go positive. I'll start since we're just going teams. We really need to get like a second or third level on club dub because we are like building. And when these guys get there, it's going to be raucous. So I'm going to put the Steelers in there. They
Nice.
went to Cincinnati for once on the season. The offense could not be stopped. We know that's Cincinnati's defense. But I mean, Russ was cooking. Despite Pickens getting two unsportsmanlike conducts in this game, they just scored 44 points, 44-38 final score. They have a 2-game lead now with the Ravens loss. Honestly, Coop, and I haven't done it. I'm going to wait till I get back to Chicago. I know it's a bit of a long shot, but they're 22-1 to win the Super Bowl. Why the hell not? Why the hell not make this bet? So, Steelers, Russ, if you want to be bring Ciara too, she's welcome in Club Dub. Get on in there, have yourself a time, and let's go.
Yeah. No, they played well, and he threw an early pick six. First drive of the
Yeah,
game, throws a pick six, and they turned right around, and it didn't matter. They didn't punt the whole game. So
right.
Yeah, it's tough. That's tough for the Bengals. I mean,
Mm.
yeah, the season's over,
And
pal.
Joe
Season's
Joe
over for
Burrow,
all my teams. It's crazy.
Joe Burrow leading the league in passing. Doesn't matter because they
Doesn't
stink.
matter.
Their defense sucks. So you've got a couple of teams in here too. I
Oh yeah.
like it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start with the Broncos. They got the win Monday night over the Browns. But more importantly, they beat their season total projection in Vegas. I think it was six and a
Oh yeah.
half. So now they officially got to 7, or
Oh
now
yeah.
maybe that was 8. So, but no, they're basically in the playoffs now. I mean, barring a massive, like they're going to play the Colts in a couple weeks, but we could basically pencil them in for the most part. It's just they've been kind of one of the biggest surprises.
Yeah.
I don't know
We
if they're.
talked
I
about
think they're probably a bigger surprise than Washington, but we're gonna put them in Club Dub. And then more importantly, we had the Bills in Club Dub, so they clinched the AFC East. They beat the Niners in the snow game, which I'm sure we'll cover in just a second. But yeah, anytime you can clinch your division before Thanksgiving, that's pretty good. I don't know if that speaks more to you or speaks more to your division, but either way, that we'll put you in Club Dub for that.
Yeah, exactly. Get in there. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was the favorite apparently this year in the division. So maybe
Yeah.
that was a bad prognostication. So we got a lot of teams in there, Coop. They're going to have to clean it up after this. Clean up and I'll Club Dub back there.
It's only a 1 week or a 1 week stay. Don't worry.
No, I know.
This is
Yeah.
a what have you done for me lately kind of business, Wegsy. Come on
Oh,
now.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let's go into the college picks. Last week we'll go over the big games. A lot of things happened. It was weird, Coop. We were talking about last week, a rivalry week. Sometimes you give credence to the rivalry, and sometimes you're like, well, they're just like the Ohio State. We're like, oh, they're going to beat their ass.
Oh no.
No. So game one,
Oh no.
South Carolina. We actually like this game too. I know Clemson had their chance to play, and they still have a chance actually. But South Carolina's rolling right now. They're playing really good football, and they win this tight game 17-14. So it wasn't a blowout by any stretch. But Clemson, at the moment when they lose this game, I'm like, oh, they blew it. They lose to South Carolina. They're not going to have a chance, because we'll see what happens. But guess what? That's not on our card. Miami
Yeah.
goes to Syracuse, and your guy,
Yeah, Kyle
McCord,
McCord, maybe.
he
Yeah.
does it, man. He finally gets Miami. Miami's kind of been living dangerously all season. So Clemson is in the title game despite losing to the Gamecocks.
Yeah. I think in a roundabout way that Miami loss actually helps Cam Ward too, because now he can sit out the rest of the season. He doesn't have to worry about getting hurt. And that's one of his big things is kind of his build. Everybody's always worried about build when they go to the NFL. So, but he's gonna be a top 10 pick for sure.
Oh yeah, and then we already mentioned the Michigan Ohio State game, 13-10 final score. The flag plant, the Jason Avant saving the flag for Michigan. I just we talk about Ryan Day likely going to get fired, but they're still in the title game. Somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how Indiana gets because they lost head to head or something, which kind of is a bummer. But well, no, they're not in the title game, right?
No, Penn State and Oregon are
Penn
in the
State.
Big Ten
Penn
title
State.
game.
Okay.
Yeah, they played
So
themselves out of the Big Ten title game.
yeah, they played themselves out. So, whatever. They just crap themselves. It's amazing. So we already
Yeah.
talked.
Is that like a spin zone that Ryan Day wanted to lose just to get an extra week of rest for the playoff? Is that the spin zone here that we're missing? Like that's something
I
I can think
guess
of,
so.
right? Big brain
I
play.
guess so. So, but he wants to play on the road because he's not going to be a favorite, right? He's not going to be in the top 8, right? Did they fall all the way out? I didn't even look at the rankings, but
No, they were gonna play at Tennessee, I think.
right. Well, that's not a bad game for them to play. Then Iron Bowl, Auburn had a big win the week before, but Alabama did come to play in this one. Sure, I still think Alabama should be out of the playoff, even though they probably will make it in the playoff. We'll see what happens this weekend. I guess it's them or Miami likely, so Alabama's probably going to get in, but they're not going to win this title anyway, so it's just a waste of my time. And then Texas did get the big win. This was actually Texas's big win of the year. Technically, they didn't have any big wins on their card, so they get the big win at Texas A&M, 17-7. I thought A&M was going to come to play. Now, granted, it was a tough game. It wasn't a blowout or anything, but Texas did acquit themselves, and now they're right there. To win the SEC, they're going to play for the SEC championship, so that's great.
Yeah.
Speaking of the SEC championship, Georgia, I thought they're going to blow it too. They ended up winning the game 44-42 in overtime. I'm sorry, I put this incorrectly. This is right. Georgia Tech almost, I should say, almost.
Yeah, 8 overtimes. Oh my God.
Yeah. 8 overtimes. At that point, they might as well just go 2-point conversions every play or something. Because is that what they do? What the hell do they do after 8?
Yeah, after the
Touchdowns?
once they get to the third overtime, it's just a 2-point conversion off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So that's a weird score, 44-42. Georgia Tech's a little sneaky. I mean, they're not going to make the playoff, but man, that
Yeah.
they're frisky, as you say.
Yeah. And they started the year with a win in Ireland, so you knew they were frisky from the jump.
That's right. We already mentioned Syracuse knocking off Miami. 42-38. There were some big scores in last week, Coop. So this
Yeah.
week, Champ Week, I'm highlighting the 4 big games. There are other big games that are important, such as a Boise and UNLV, but I didn't put that on the card here. Let's start off with the Big 12. You got Iowa State, 15th ranked against Arizona State. This is a playing game. It's a playing game. Arizona State is a 2-point favorite in this one. 49.5-point total. This is the early game, 11 a.m. Central. Do you like somebody in this game?
I like Arizona State. I just feel like they're the hottest team in the country right now. They played really well last week. I was watching them as we were eating Thanksgiving dinner on Saturday, one of the many Thanksgivings we do. But yeah, no, I like Arizona State right now. They're just the vibes are high, and I think there's something to be said about playing your best ball right now and peaking at the correct time, and I definitely think that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Then you've got Georgia versus Texas. This is a heavyweight fight that Georgia dominated when they played earlier, but Texas is the favorite, 2.5 points here, 49.5-point total. This is at 3 p.m. Central. The only handicap I would say in this one is the Georgia quarterback just keeps turning the ball over. That's why they're kind of in this position. Still a good team, still quality. Obviously, they can't get in that top 4 seed, but you like Texas in this one.
Do they play in Atlanta for this game, or do they play in the Superdome?
I think it's in Atlanta. Let me take a look in a second. Live podcasting.
That would be my question, because I don't know if they play in the Mercedes Dome, maybe, because I like Texas just for the rematch factor. Like Georgia went it down to Texas and beat them earlier, and I just feel like it's really hard to beat a team twice in the same year.
It's the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta.
Okay. So they're playing in Atlanta, so it's basically going to be a home game for Georgia.
Yes.
That might affect a little bit, just because we saw how dominant Georgia's defense can be. Literally in Texas, where there's no communication issues, and if you're going to Atlanta, there probably might be a little communication issues. But
Sure.
I would lean Texas. I mean, they didn't look the greatest against Texas A&M last week, but the only reason Texas A&M scored is because they threw a pick six. If that doesn't happen, they shut Texas A&M out. So I would lean Texas just for the rematch factor here. Yeah, I think once you get above 3.5 points, I think that's when you leave it alone.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's at 2.5. That's a good number. So Penn State is going. We already talked about Penn State is somehow in this. I don't think they're even great. I'd rather have Indiana here versus Oregon. I guess they win by some tie break somehow. Oregon's a 3.5-point favorite, 50-point total. This is at 7 p.m. Central. It's Oregon all the way, right? I mean, first of all, we know big game James Franklin, big game Jimmy Franklin. He got no juice. I mean, he's beaten one top 10 team in his career. So we know that's against him. But Oregon's just the best team in the country, aren't they?
I would, yeah. I mean, the only thing I can think of is, and plus Oregon's coming off. They beat Wisconsin, and then they got a bye week, didn't they? Like I thought they had a late bye week this year.
No, they beat Washington last week.
Okay.
Sorry, Ridgeway.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they beat Washington in a year late for you. Remember, you picked Oregon.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
This year they actually
which Bo Nix should have beaten, but anyway, we'll save that for a later day. But I mean, that's the way I see it. Oregon, especially inside, like they're gonna play in Indianapolis. I guess coming across the halfway across the country is not necessarily a good thing, but yeah, I like Dylan Gabriel. I don't think he'll turn the ball over. I think I think Oregon will get pressure on the Penn State quarterback, and I see Oregon here.
There you go. Did I tell you that my coworker knows Dylan Gabriel and his family or something? He's a really sweet guy. I already mentioned that.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah, he proposed to his girlfriend this year, and he asked the family to come in. I think it was the first game, but he's a real sweetheart of a guy. He's a Hawaiian guy. So. Lastly, Clemson against SMU. SMU, I would argue, is as hot as Arizona State. They are actually a 2-point favorite in this game. Huge total, 55.5 point total. Also at 7 p.m. Central. It looks like you like the dog here. I know you like your Clemson guy. I would go against you here, but I'm actually, my only bets in college this year. I think I'm gonna SMU to win the championship. I know it's a long shot, but I'm just hoping they get a couple of games. I can start do my Jimmy Hedgerton routine.
Yeah, or you can even cash it out. Honestly, I mean, if you get to like the round of 8, you might think about cashing that bad boy in. Yeah, I picked Clemson like 5 or 6 weeks ago to make it, so I don't want to back out now, and it's now or never in my opinion. So
Yeah,
they didn't play terribly against South Carolina. They just let the quarterback get like literally escape the pocket 3 or 4 times, like magically. He literally spun out like 3 tackles and would run for 30, 40, 50 yards at a time. So I don't think that's going to happen against SMU. I just hope, a little bit of experience would come, show through here. And yeah, I'm taking Dabo, and we're going to see what happens.
I got a question for you here. If SMU loses, are they out of the playoff?
I would say no, but we'll see. I would say you still take both if Clemson wins. I think you take both teams, and then Alabama probably is the last one in.
And that's the only motivational thing for me is if it gets, they're down like 7, 10 points in the fourth quarter. Why push? We're in. You know what I mean? Like that's the only thing I can see it. Whereas, that Arizona Iowa State game, I mean, you got to win that game to get in. I mean, there's no getting around it. I think
Right.
Oregon, Penn State, they're both going to be in. You got to figure Georgia's still going to be in, even though they've had some losses, and Texas is
Yeah.
locked in. So some of these games don't have the same juice. Like I said, that UNLV Boise game, which is tonight, winners basically in, which is they need to win the game. So,
Right. Could you imagine UNLV getting in after the whole
oh
quarterback
man,
debacle they had? That'd be insane.
be awesome. They go crazy. So just review your picks for the big games then.
Yep. So the 4 championship games this week, I'm taking Oregon -3.5, Clemson +2, Arizona State -2, and Texas -2.5.
Nice.
Yeah, hook
Nice.
'em.
Let's go into the NFL, Coop. Missed you last week, but it was pretty much what it's been all season. It's split down the middle. ATS 8-8. So you got to actually pick the right sides now because there's no advantage either way. And the totals were like 8-7-1. So it's like okay, I guess the NFL finally regularized in week 13. Um, from some of our picks, Arizona covers the number, but they blow the game against Minnesota. It's just like they get dominated the game,
Yeah.
decided not to go for the touchdown when they were down in the red zone late, kick a field goal up 6, and then just Minnesota methodically moves it down to win the game. It was just hilarious. But
Yeah.
they lose the lead in the NFC West too because Seattle ends up getting their win. So they've had a couple 2-game slide. They got to bounce back.
Yeah, they need to score in the red zone. If they would
Yeah,
just quick kick, yeah, they kicked 5 field goals or maybe 4 field goals, but I think
yeah,
it was 4 or 5, but they attempted 5. But anyway, yeah,
yeah.
they got to put the ball in the end zone, Wegsy. That's what you got to do to win in this league. You got to put the ball in the end zone.
Got to put the biscuit in the basket.
There it
How
is.
about how about the Chargers? They grit out a tough win, 17-13. Probably the wrong side here, Coop, to be honest with
Oh
you.
yeah.
But the good thing is that they have Kirk Cousins, who was all of a sudden looks like a statue. He can't move. He throws 4 interceptions. He got no zip on that fastball. Gets a pick 6 in this game, which is kind of the big difference in this one. And they fall to 6-6, meaning Atlanta, which is going to be tough because we talked about this before. We like the Bucs. I like the Bucs to win the division, but the problem is they lost the 2 games against Atlanta. So it's really Atlanta controls their own destiny here, but they're limping in. But the Chargers get the win, and I mean they obviously bounce back after losing the week before.
Yeah, a nice little pick 6 was a game winner for the Chargers. But do you know the last 3 games that Kirk Cousins hasn't thrown a touchdown pass?
Well, I'm happy to hear that because I think I'm facing him in fantasy, so I hope they keep him in there.
Yeah, revenge game Kirk this week, by the way. You gotta be careful.
I know. We'll talk about that. Okay, so then on the negative side, the Bucs, they're a confounding team. But I will tell you the reason. Really, I think are we underestimating Carolina now? They played really good for the last couple of weeks. The Bucs actually shouldn't have won this game at all, but they had to force overtime. They ended up winning the game 26-23, but they did not cover. Like it was like 7 point. It was 5.5, 7 points, something like that. We did take him in the contest. Um, Bryce Young reclamation project. What do you mean? What do you think? I mean, Dave Canales must be doing something over there.
Yeah. Well, the quarterbacks that get benched are 2 for 2 on looking better after coming back benched. So
Yeah, it's true.
maybe that's the medicine nowadays.
I guess, yeah, bench a guy and then he bounces back. But I mean, like for him, a lot of people were writing off his career like he was a bust. But you start looking at that, and I think CJ had a great year last year. He's struggled this year, so maybe it's leveling out a little
Yeah.
bit.
Well, their offensive line, Houston's offensive line is awful. That's like one of the worst in the league, at least by PFF standards. So
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the last game of note, because we had taken, just so you know, on the contest picks and stuff, was we took Green Bay on Thanksgiving Day, and we took the Chiefs, who should have lost. And then we took the Ravens, and we talked about this already. The Eagles 24-19.
yeah.
So I have a question for you, and especially with the game of the books last night. You know, the Eagles. I mean, how much money are you putting on them to win the NFC or the Super Bowl at this point? Are you just not buying?
I'm not. I'm jumping on your ship. I'm taking the Packers. I think the Packers are going to do it.
Huh?
I really
Interesting.
just I think the way that they're losing to the law, I just something about it. And plus I think I trust Matt LaFleur out of all three of those guys that you're going to name. Between Dan Campbell, Matt LaFleur, and Nick Sirianni, I think I would take Matt LaFleur for sure. Like I think he's head and shoulders above those other two guys as far as at least game management and stuff like that. But man, yeah, it's tough to ignore the Eagles. Their defense is much better since they had
Oh yeah.
they had an early season debacle, but they've definitely gotten it together. But yeah, it's tough to ignore their run game. That's for sure. It is. It's definitely tough to ignore. Do they have the best power run game? Like, are they better than the Ravens? Do you think?
Well, I mean, I would argue the Lions' run game's pretty damn good too. They just have Saquon Barkley, obviously in Philly, so he can do everything. But yeah, I mean, look, it was on display. I mean, it was interesting. That game, the Ravens started running the ball, and then they did what they've been doing for every big game. They stopped running the fucking football late, and it wasn't like Henry was slowing down; he was fine. So I
Yeah.
do think the offensive line for Philly they've corrected it, and Saquon's so good. So I think they are better at power run game. To answer your question, yes.
Yeah. It's the second loss to the NFC and Lamar Jackson.
No, his
Oh,
career.
so that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen very often. I think he's 24-2 now. So Jalen Hurts gave him a loss. Can you name the other quarterback that's beaten him from the NFC?
Ooh, let's see.
This is a good like beer question, by the way. If you want to bet somebody a beer at the bar, like, hey, I'll
Yeah,
bet you a beer that you can't answer this question.
sure I can't. Um, hmm, let me throw one out there. Tom
Yeah.
Brady.
Nope. It's Daniel Jones. The Giants beat
Oh,
the Ravens. Yeah. The guy is, and also, you know what would be really funny? I hope Minnesota wins the Super Bowl because I thought about this last night. Could you imagine that both New York quarterbacks win a Super Bowl on the same team with Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones? I think that'd be hilarious. I think
oh, yeah,
like the funniest
yeah.
thing that could happen of all time right now is that the Vikings win the Super Bowl somehow, and that would be, man. Yeah. Anyway,
Jets and Giants
yeah,
combined in Minnesota.
to make a
There you
Super
go.
Bowl champion. There it is.
Okay, so let's get into this week. There's one of those mega bye weeks, which I
Yeah.
said this back in week 8. They had no buys that week, and you have 6 this week. You've got Denver, Indy, Washington, New England, Baltimore, Houston on bye. So it's a light slate. Last night, we kind of alluded to it. Detroit wins, a shootout. It was a fun game. Great Thursday night game, really fun. Green Bay does cover the number, but they lose the game 34-31. It's just they couldn't get off the field. It was like, God, nobody could stop anybody. I knew whoever had the ball last was going to win.
Yeah.
And then how about that going for 4th and 1? When the game's tied with 25 seconds, because they know if they get the ball back, they're probably going to lose the game anywhere or something, right? So
Yeah.
anyway, that was kind of gutsy, and Goff almost fell over on that. Did you see the
Well, he did
handoff?
fall over. Thank God it's not college. Yeah.
But good for the Lions. I do think they're vulnerable. The only thing is we discussed, and you brought up in the pregame show. Oh my God, the preseason show. 3 games, 3 games on the road, or 3 games outside of domes. That's the only thing saving this team right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the one game they played in Lambeau, they looked pretty good, but I still think
Yeah.
the Packers find a way to beat themselves when they play the Lions as opposed to the Lions beating them. So just early mistakes, I think, from the Packers last night. They they dug themselves a 10-point hole. Like, you can't do that against, good teams like this. So I think that's just a product of them being young, and then maybe maybe some offensive play calling decision making. I don't know. I just felt like they'd hand the ball off on first down, get 5 yards, and then they would throw it twice and it'd be off the field. I'm like, what are we doing? Like let's lean on the run game. The reason why they lost to Detroit, the first time is because they didn't run the ball enough. Like, they
Right.
didn't keep running the football. So yeah, I mean, there were a lot of injuries for Detroit, so I figured Green Bay was the side. Yeah, I thought, I kind of figured Green Bay was the side. So I don't know. We'll see moving forward. Definitely both playoff teams. So
Yeah, and Christian Watson, you're a strong guy. Hold on to the goddamn football. Secure the ball when you're jumping up. Just get it down in your body. He's always doing that shit. He fumbles every week now. Annoys the shit out of me. But okay, so let's go into the Sunday slate. We'll start off with your Finns. Sorry, the Finns are probably done. I mean, there's probably not mathematically eliminated, but it's not looking good. The Jets are going to Miami. Miami's a 5.5-point favorite, 44.5-point total. This is a noon game central. So are you Finns? I mean, this is a battle of disappointment, right? This is the Jets haven't won a game in forever. They stink, and they can't somehow. I'm surprised they're not favored in this game. They've been favored for weeks, and they stink. And then the Finns have been playing better. They just obviously played. It's tough. You go to Lambeau and stuff like that. So is Miami the side? I mean, 5.5 is kind of a big number, but I can't bet on the Jets. It's impossible.
Yeah, and 5.5 is kind of no man's land too. Honestly, that is kind of no man's land in the NFL. So, I don't know. The season's over. I quit caring. Like, as soon as he dropped that punt on Thanksgiving night, I knew the season was over. So literally, the first we get a 3-and-out, fucking drops the ball because he's a half a meatball. Just, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, season's over. And then you got Mike McDaniel shivering on the sideline.
I know, he looks so funny. He looked like a wet dog or something.
And his nose is so red. He looked more red than Rudolph, man. Just anyway, I mean, if you're gonna play a side, I think you're right. I think you got to play Miami just because Aaron Rodgers is not very mobile anymore, and he missed Garrett Wilson for a touchdown last week that would have put the game out of hands, and then they end up blowing it on what literally throws a pick six the very next play, I think. So yeah, the vibes aren't high. Aaron Rodgers doesn't even know if he's going to play next year. He's probably not going to. The Jets aren't bringing him back. It's just it's a sad world we live in,
Sad world. Sorry, Jets fans. Yet another year.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's still stay away. So then Atlanta is at Minnesota. You talked about revenge game for Kirk Cousins if he stays in the game because it's potential he's going to get benched. So Minnesota's a 5.5-point favorite at home, 45.5-point total. Minnesota's been struggling. I've been lining up against them every week to bet against, and it has paid off here and there with the spread. But I think this is a different game. I think that they're gonna, I still think if you put the rookie in there, he's gonna struggle against the splitzing defense. So I like Minnesota to lay the wood here. Finally, Atlanta doesn't get off to the passer, so Darnold should have a good game. And more importantly, you put pressure on Kirk, it's a long day. And so I got Minnesota on this one.
Yeah, I love the over in this game. I don't know how I feel about the number, but I love the over in this game just for the kind of reasons you laid out. There's not going to be any pressure on Sam Darnold. And if Minnesota does get up big, then Kirk Cousins just will, he'll backdoor cover. He can score. He could, score touchdowns. I feel like that would be a good bet there. But I feel like if you're going to pick a side, I feel like you got to pick Atlanta just because Kirk Cousins can't play any worse than what he did last week. I mean, 4 turnovers, kind of the whole Jared Goff thing, right? Like, he throws 5 picks, comes back and throws 4 or 5 touchdowns the very next week. So I just feel like when the guys know what they're doing, they have bad weeks. He had a bad week. Sure. If it is a physical ailment, like we're kind of leaning toward, I would be a little more hesitant. But again, I would take the over. If you're going to pick a side, I think you got to take Atlanta, in my opinion. The run game could get going. If they lean on Bijan more, I think they could be in this game.
They should. I mean, Arizona was running all over them. So, and the Bears did too the week before. Okay, so let's do New Orleans at the Giants. Again, another
disappointment bowl.
New Orleans is somehow favored by 4.5 points in this game, 41-point total. Look, the Giants stink. The Giants suck. Oh yeah, you want to do this? The Giants suck, but I cannot lay points on the road with the Saints. I don't care where they're playing. 4.5, not a chance. So his Giants are passed, but I am not going to endorse that on a $1,000 entry card for certain. So this is one of those. I don't know. These first couple of games, besides the Giants and the Jets, I cannot get rid of these guys. I don't like them in the league. So you like one of these sides? You like Tommy DeVito?
Well, I thought Drew Lock was playing.
He is.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I like Drew Lock more than Tommy DeVito, but yeah, I think you got to take the Giants 4.5. I think Dayball's either. Yeah. I think the angle that I took to this game is I think Dayball is either A, coaching for his job, or B, he's auditioning for his next one. So
sure.
I'm kind of in on the theory that the Bears should get either Kyle Shanahan, or if the Giants fire Brian Daboll, I think the Bears should hire Brian Daboll. I don't know which one I like more yet. I'm still running the numbers, in Cooplytics, if you will, which would be a better fit. But
you think Kyle Shanahan's going to get fired?
No, I think we should trade for him though.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I think the 49ers are in a real pickle. They're aging. I think I was going to save this for when we talk about the 49ers, but yeah, no, I think it's a real opportunity to get Kyle Shanahan, and I think it makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Well, either way, I don't know if I'd endorse. Again, the Giants are the better pick here. I don't know about laying a lot of money on that, but they're okay.
The real question is MVS going to score a touchdown again? I mean, he's been killing it. Like, he's literally out of nowhere. Hot. Yeah.
Yeah. Too bad Derek Carr can't make a throw in the fourth quarter. So let's go Carolina, Philly. Philly's a robust 12.5 point favorite here, 45.5 point total. Look, conventional wisdom says lay the wood with Philly because they've been crushing it when they've won like 8 games in a row or something. But Carolina, I'm telling you, they're frisky. This is a classic frisky spot. It's a tough spot. It's cold here. Bryce Young, he's a little guy. He could get pounded, but they've been doing something right. So I would Carolina or pass here. Carolina or pass. It's not going to be a contest. Carolina or pass. Oh yeah.
Okay. I'd be willing to ride with the Eagles. I think they can win by 13. Yeah. I feel like that's the ceiling. I feel like you've seen the ceiling for the Panthers the last couple weeks. So the physicality of the Eagles defense combined with the weather, like you were mentioning, I think just makes for a long day for a little guy. We just saw a little quarterback in the cold when Tua went to Miami, which he didn't actually play that bad. It was more of
he played fine.
Yeah, it was more of a defensive debacle. But I don't have any faith in that for sure. The Eagles are rolling too. They got to chase the Lions for the 1 seed.
Oh yeah, and they want to win the 1 seed to bring Detroit to Philly in the cold. I mean, there's your handicap. Okay, so Raiders at Tampa. Tampa's a 7 point favorite, 46 point total here. The market is 6.5. I skipped the game, but that's fine. Look, I get it. The number is not great. 7's not a fantastic number, but I think Tampa bounces back here. I know Brock Bowers, your best friend, is rolling, and AOC. I guess AOC's starting. He's sort of healthy, sort of not. They should have beat the Chiefs. I get it, but they didn't. So 6.5 is a much better number for me. I know that 7. I had to pick another pick. I had Green Bay in my top 5, but obviously the game's over. So it looks like you like the Raiders in this.
I love the Raiders. This might be the 401k pick of the week, honestly.
What?
I said
the
might.
Raiders?
I said I might. There's another one that we're going to talk about in a minute. I think you're going to think I'm even more ludicrous on, but no, I like the Raiders here. A couple different reasons. They've been playing better as of late. The Bucks really don't. I mean, they did get Mike Evans back, but you can tell they still miss Chris Godwin. They still miss that intermediate threat, moving the sticks. Kate Otton's kind of disappeared, unfortunately, the last couple of weeks. It's been more of the running backs. Bucky Irving's really good. Yeah, Bucky Irving's really good. So that would be the only thing that would worry me if you took the Raiders as the side, is that Bucky Irving gets going again, because the Raiders defense is very suspect. So, but no, I think the Raiders are the side here. They've been playing a lot better as of late, and even though they stink, they're still playing hard for their head coach. So I think that says something.
It says something, but I don't know. We'll see. Look, you're right. Like last week, I was like, oh, Tampa, lay the wood. This team's offense is too good. And they did score a ton of points. They just couldn't stop anybody. That's the problem with Tampa. They can't stop anybody. So maybe you're right. Maybe this is the AOC breakout game.
I mean, he had, 340 against Kansas City, right?
Yeah, they only scored 17 points. Weird.
Yeah. Well, okay. Carlson missed field goals. He could have been in the shed too. Totally forgot about him.
Well, and the snapper, whoever, they snapped the ball too early or something, or whatever the hell they did. It was only overshadowed by the Bears' ineptitude, so they kind of
Yeah,
forgot about it. So I skipped this game. Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a 7-point favorite in the contest, 43.5 point total. The market is 6.5. You know, you gave it to the Broncos last week, and I agree they've had a great season, but they shouldn't have won that game, or at least shouldn't have covered the game. Jameis had this amazing game, and then he Jameised in the last 2 minutes, 2 interceptions. You probably heard the stat about the pick sixes. So the total yards between his pick sixes
oh
and his
yeah,
touchdowns is the most in the history of the NFL. It's like
yeah.
600 whatever, 25 yards.
680, 683 yards, I think, is what it was.
And he just, look, love him or hate him, he elevates this team, right? And he's slinging around the yard. They play for him. They love him in the interviews. So I cannot lay the wood here with Pittsburgh. There is no way I can lay the wood here. I know that they're going to have a revenge spot, and they've been playing great, but 7 points is way too many. Jameis can get in the back door there. So it's Cleveland or pass. They're not in my top 5, but I would take them.
Yeah, I think the NFL script writers want the AFC North to be a closer race too, because
Yes.
that Hard Knocks is filming it, so they probably want
Oh,
a
that's
little
right.
more. Yeah, they probably want a little more content. Like, oh, we got to have the Steelers lose, so that way it's a 1-game race going down the stretch for the AFC North or whatever. Because the Steelers and Ravens are going to play again, right?
They are. They have one more
Yeah,
game.
I think they have one more. Yeah, so like they want that division to come down to that game. So I think this again, Cleveland. It's a meaningless win for Cleveland, but it would be, I think this is the spot. They just beat them on Thursday night not that long ago. Like, how can this team
No,
be underdogs by 7 points to the?
I don't
I mean, I
understand
could
it. I
see.
know it's on the
Yeah,
road, but
I could see 3, but or maybe all the way up to 4, but I can't see 7. There's no way. Myles Garrett can make an impact. Yeah.
yeah, let me just see I
So.
do have it.
And this team Pittsburgh was the only team that Cleveland could actually run the ball again. Or yeah, that Cleveland could run the ball on. Like Cleveland's been struggling to run the ball. That's why Jameis keeps throwing so many interceptions too. So if they can get Chubb going, get that run game situated, they'd be all right.
It's a classic. Mike Tomlin is amazing when he's a dog, but when he's a
Yeah.
7-point favorite, no way. You can't
Yeah.
do it. It's a divisional game. So maybe Action will talk me into this one. Cleveland, I'll be rooting for Jameis. Kill me. All right, last game in the early window. You got Jacksonville at Tennessee. Tennessee's a 3.5-point favorite, 40-point total. The market is down to 3 here, 3.5 for the contest. Look, Jacksonville did what we did. I knew they were going to cover last week against Houston. The cheap shot of the year, right? Cheap shot of the year. Trevor Lawrence, and probably ends the season. Maybe ends his time in Jacksonville. If you get a new coach, maybe they're going to ship him out because he's whatever. I think he's still a good player. But Tennessee, it's Will Levis, dude. Can he really be favored by 3.5 anywhere? That's why the market's right. 3, 2.5, maybe. So if it's 3.5, you got to take the Jags. But God, these teams, I can't bet on either of these teams anymore. They break my heart. I've got an ulcer because of it. So it's the Jimmy Wegs stay away spot of the week.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not touching it. I'm out of here. I don't even have words for this game. It's so bad. This is the AFC South. You're welcome.
God,
it's so bad.
It
is.
It's a
It's
shit
so
stain
bad.
in the NFL.
Yeah, I honestly thought Cooper Rush against Drew Lock was bad. Now I get Mac Jones against Will Levis. Like, God, just take me out back behind the shed and end me, please.
Oh, God. Okay, well, let's get to the next game so our listeners can get ahead. So we've got Seattle. This is a good game. Seattle at Arizona. Arizona is a 3-point favorite in the contest, 45.5-point total. The market is 2.5, which seems more appropriate. I don't think 3 seems right. So it's Seattle plus the 3, or, if you want to live dangerously. What do you think of these teams? I know you were a big Arizona guy early, James Conner and Kyler, but Seattle certainly has turned a corner, especially defensively. They did pull a rabbit out of the hat last week. They shouldn't have won that game. But the matchup 2 weeks ago seemed to favor Seattle. They really stopped that run game. Do you think that Arizona can bounce back here?
I think they can. I think, like I said, they played pretty well against Minnesota. They just couldn't put the ball in the end zone. Like, they moved the ball up and down the field all day long. That wasn't an issue. So I'm going to take Arizona in the bounce back spot. I don't feel good I think you should tease the spread down and tease the total up, just because I think you're going to get a lower total just because of what they did a couple weeks ago. I think that
Right.
Vegas is really going to weigh in that outcome. I think you can get some value here. I think you can go up to 47 or 48 points because I think right now it's at 45.5. So
Yeah, it's really low.
yeah, if you want to tease it down to a pick 'em and then tease the point total up, I think that's probably the play here and just pick a side either way. But I would lean Arizona. I think Trey McBride's probably going to have a big game. And then again, they're going to see if they can get that run game going. But I would lean that way.
Okay, gotcha. Revenge spot. Okay, Buffalo is going to the Rams. Buffalo's a 3.5-point favorite on the road, 49.5-point total. It probably will be a Buffalo home game. This is how the Rams, they don't really have a home field advantage. And the Bills Mafia are going to be breaking tables outside of SoFi. So I like the Bills to roll here. So I lay the 3.5.
It's a nice elbow you got there. That's a hell of an elbow drop. Yeah. From the top rope.
I know you love your Rams, dude. You can't
Yeah,
quit the
I'm
Rams.
I'm ramming. I'm ramming and riding right here. This is going to be the 401k upset of the week.
Oh,
I
oh,
love the Rams this week.
please,
First of all, the
God.
Bills are coming off, the high of Sunday night. It was this big giant snow party. Everybody's singing their praises. I
Mhm.
think this is the spot for the Rams. I think this is the season for the Rams right here.
Oh, yeah, they have to win.
This is the season. And I think with Seattle and Arizona playing each other, I think they realize that this is their opportunity. And again, I'm going to take Sean McVay. I think they're going to find a way. Their defensive front is good enough, I think, to slow down the run game and to get a little pressure on Josh Allen. And then we'll go from there. But yeah, I'm riding with the Rams. I think this is it. This is going to be their season. I have more faith in them to continue their season than I did the Dolphins doing it against the Packers. So
Yeah, I see that. But okay. Okay. I mean, I'm a
yeah.
Josh Allen homer, so
3.5 is too many, Wegs. 3.5 is way
okay.
too many.
1.5 is more appropriate.
Yeah,
But you think the
2.
Rams are going to win the game?
I think they can, yeah, but definitely the cover is the cover's
Okay.
guaranteed. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I respect the position. Buffalo, in my mind, is like top 3 team in the league now. I mean, it's just they're better than the Chiefs, even though the Chiefs will probably beat them in the playoffs. I think they're more consistent than the Ravens. And then it's down to Philly and Detroit. And obviously, we love the
Yeah.
Pack. So,
Well, hopefully James Cook doesn't turn into Saquon Barkley. That's all I'm hoping for.
yeah, right. Okay, so then we've got the Bears at 49ers. The 49ers are down to a 4-point favorite in the contest, but it's 3.5 on the market. So this was as high as 6.5 on the opener. Obviously, McCaffrey going down, for his PCL, which is a shame. He's had a really lost season there. San Francisco has had a lost season. So
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those things. Maybe they could bounce back, but we also have the dead cat bounce, dude. DCB, dead cat bounce. So I think the Bears are actually going to win this football game. So I'm all over the Bears plus the 4 in the contest.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I think once you get down to like 3.5 or 3, I think that's when you take the Niners. But yeah, anything 4, 4.5, 6, whatever. Yeah, I think this is an audition. I really do. Again, I think the Bears should. I think they should really
Trade them.
consider acquiring Kyle Shanahan. The Niners are getting older. They got to pay Brock Purdy next year, which we've seen with teams like, Baltimore and Dallas and Miami. When you pay your quarterback, you significantly get worse in other spots of your team.
Bengals,
So
maybe?
yeah, the Bengals even. Yeah, you can throw them in there. Like you get significantly worse. So I just don't see how next year this team's going to get any better than 500, which is probably what they're going to finish this year. So they were bad. They hired Harbaugh. They were really good. Harbaugh left. They were bad again. And then they hired Shanahan, and then they've been really good. And I just think, now's the time for maybe next year just to go in fresh, fresh quarterback, fresh GM, or not fresh GM, but maybe a fresh head coach. And yeah, and I think Kyle Shanahan and Caleb Williams would be really great together. I think he'd give him some stability. He'd definitely give him a
Yeah,
run game, which has
yeah.
been, again, I just don't understand how we have a team that plays literally in the middle of the freaking winter, and their skill set is not anywhere near the middle of the field at all. Like Cole Kmet's really good, but like everything inside of Cole Kmet, tackle,
Mhm.
guard, center it's no good. It's just not good enough. So yeah, the way this team is constructed, I think Kyle Shanahan would actually construct it the correct way,
Yeah, right.
and they'd have a chance to compete. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I think this is a tryout game for the Bears. I really do. I hope it
Okay.
is
Me too. Me
an
too.
audition. Yeah.
All right, Sunday night football. You've got the Chargers at Kansas City. They got this one right. Kansas City's a 4-point favorite at home, 43.5 point total. I can only go Chargers here. I like them actually a lot this week. The Chiefs will probably win the game somehow, but the Chargers are playing more consistently, and I think that they play enough tough defense. They can run the football, and I just don't believe that the Chiefs are fugazi, man. They're just not the real team. At some point they're going to lose a goddamn game, and I think it's this one. So, they're still going to be great in the playoffs because they got Mahomes, but at some point this winning by miracles every week is going to end. It's kind of like Philadelphia last year mid-season when they were winning all those games and shouldn't have won them. So definitely Chargers plus the 4 on this.
Yeah, J.K. Dobbins being hurt doesn't really. That's the only thing that worries me is that you have Gus Edwards and Vital or Vital or whatever.
Kamani Vidal, baby.
Yeah. So that'd be the only thing that worry me, just because there's not really a game-breaking wide receiver on this. I think if they found a way to get T. Higgins in free agency, I think this team could be really good next year. Yeah, I think this team would be scary. So maybe they add a defensive player in the draft, but I'm with you. If you're gonna pick a side, I would take the number. I would take the 4 in the Chargers, but I just think this is a stay away game. This is gonna be a game. I would take the under in this game. I think 43.5. I think that's too many. It's gonna be cold in Kansas City too. Yeah. Pacheco's back though, so that would scare me. They had him on a pitch count a little bit, and I feel like they've been ramping him up a little more. So you might get a real big dose of Pacheco this week.
Pacheco running wild. Yeah, Lab McConkey's been good for the Chargers. He kind of got banged up last week too. So you're right. It's probably not going to be great, but we'll see. Monday night game. So I don't know if you know the history behind this game. Cincinnati at Dallas. It's a humdinger of a game. The two disappointing teams. This could be a Super Bowl matchup in somebody's mind early in the season. Cincinnati's a 6-point favorite on the road, 49.5 point total. The market is 5.5, 6 in the contest. So did you hear the reason why they couldn't flex out of this? This is the Simpsons, whatever slime game or some shit. I don't know what the hell they're doing. So they couldn't flex out of this. No. Like, thank you for giving us this crappy game. Obviously Joe Burrow it's a shame. It's kind of an amazing season. I mean, it'll help his career stats, but I'm telling you, he'd be the MVP if they were winning games, but and Dallas Cooper Rush. So I can understand Cincinnati here. I just don't think I can put it on my contest minus the 6.
Yeah. I mean, Dallas has been they get blown out at home. So I don't think Dallas can score 30 points either. So I would take Cincinnati. Cincinnati's going to score 30. We know that.
Yeah, we know that.
Can Dallas score 24? That's basically the question.
Answer is no.
I don't think so.
Actually, we are talking about the Cincinnati defense. I mean, God, they're bad. They're so bad. So that's my fear about cover. I mean, it's not a huge number. It's not like over 7, but covering 6. Oh God, and a Pepto right there waiting for you, buddy. The Pepto-Bismol play of the week.
Yeah, the Simpsons Pepto game of the week. There you go.
All right, let's go over my picks. I got Chargers plus the 4. Bills minus 3.5 on the road at the Rams. Minnesota minus 5.5 at home against Atlanta. Bears, the dead cat bounce game plus 4, and I guess I'll go with Tampa minus 7.
Oh man, you're gonna ride with Tampa. That's interesting. So
I
basically got the week of the underdog. I've got a nice little hungry dog parlay here if you want. So I'm taking Chicago plus 4, the Rams plus 3.5, the Giants at plus 4.5, the Raiders at plus 7. Yeah, exactly. And then I'm gonna take the Bengals at minus 6. So
get that, the Pepto-Bismol pick of the week. Yeah. So your 401k pick of the week is the Rams plus 3.5.
Yeah, love it. Gotcha. Especially if it keeps going up, I would just I'd hammer it. You get to like 5. Oh man.
Yeah. Well, this week the contests were weird, Coop. There was all those picks. You had to make picks on Thursday and on Sunday for Survivor. Only 2 knockouts, dude. Only 2 knockouts. Oh, wow. Because if the Lions went down to the Chiefs, it would have been like down to like 15 people, right? But now they survive. So good for those guys. Still $14 million on the line. It's a lot more people than I thought at this stage. So we'll see if there's some upsets this week. Side action, we went 2 and 3. We were on a roll. We were doing good. We had a good quarter, but we needed another 3 and 2, 4 and 1, and we would have been having a chance. But we'll see. So we got 5 more weeks. Try to make some hay. So we'll see what happens. So anyway, you got the
Nice.
holiday party tonight. You're going to be singing. You're going to figure out your thing. You've got it says bowling shoot. So you're going to do another little bowling shoot for who?
For Lane Tech, yeah,
Oh,
they're doing a
got bowling.
tournament. Yeah, there's a bowling team at Lane Tech. So I had to do it's basically for school. I had to make some new
Yeah,
sort of content, and I bowl with league with their head coach. So
nice.
yeah, just figure what the hell. So that's what I'm doing Saturday, and then Sunday I'm hopefully gonna be moving everything, getting that all situated. So I'll be watching football from my phone more than likely, or listening to it in my ear.
And not that you have to
But
give the
yeah,
address, but what neighborhood are you moving to again?
moving like downtown off of it's like closer to Ukrainian Village. So
Oh, okay. I got you. Nice, nice. Good stuff. I like it. Well, I'll be partying it up in about an hour and a half here.
you
We'll
know,
see if the liver survives. Gonna come home tomorrow, or is tomorrow? Oh my God, I'm gonna be home tomorrow. Get to come home to the cat. Can't wait to see Raja the cat and her screeching at me as soon as I walk in the door. And then I'm supposed to go Bruce, Nikki and Bruce, those two.
yeah,
Well,
oh yeah,
they're having a little, you know, gathering at their place, kind of pub crawl through Wrigley tomorrow night, which you're welcome to attend.
nice.
I'm just going to check that out. It's like a pre-tee box. I'm doing tee box next week, so this is just checking out the bars. I don't know how much I'm going to drink because my liver's probably already cashed out after today. And then I get to rest on Sunday. I gotta just chill and watch football. That's my whole goal is to do
Hell
nothing
yeah,
Sunday. But
yeah, nice
it'll be
lazy
good,
Sunday.
good to get back to the shy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
No more island time. None of this island time.
back to the real world.
Yeah, 80 degrees every day. And my dad was like texting me, "Oh, I see it's down to 60 in Oahu." I'm like, "Dad, at 4 in the morning it was 69 degrees. It's still 79 right now, bro. Like, let's not sound the alarms here."
He's checking it when you're sleeping. That's so funny. He really is Santa. Oh my god, I had no idea.
Santa. He's a
LOL.
meteorologist. He's like, "Oh, looks like there's a system working." Yeah, just
He's
we'll
so
get
studious.
get the
Yeah, he knows about the
email bars.
Broncos. He knows about the
Oh, yeah,
weather. This guy knows everything.
he does. I wish he was listening to the podcast, but that's not.
Hell yeah.
So anyway, follow me at Wegs School on Instagram and on X. Also follow us on TikTok, which is amazing, and follow us at Side Action Pod on Twitter or X, and on Side Action Podcast on Instagram.
Yeah. And I'm Coop. Check me on Instagram at Dalton Cooper, on X at Mr. Grumpy Gills. Again, we are the Side Action Podcast. Make sure that everybody this weekend be like Wegs. Just sit down, watch football all day Sunday. Don't let anybody disturb you. Don't let anybody tell you that it's wrong. It's the holidays. We're getting shopping
Right.
done. Yeah, you're doing all that honey to do stuff on Saturday now that we're losing college football. So
That's right.
enjoy your Sundays. Yeah. You this
Sunday.
is a PSA from yours truly. You can use this as the watch football all day free card. Yeah, you're welcome.
The following is a message. But more importantly, we're going to be hopefully in the Edgewater studio next week. Hopefully, I can get you
Yes. Ayo. All right, let's go.
back to internet perfection. So,
Hell yeah. There it is. Love you guys.
all right, dude.